strong, clear message. We will not stand by while support for you is dismantled. Talking about improving Medicaid so that family caregivers can get a break once in a while and everybody has access to the health care that they need. This isn't a left or right issue. This is about what is right. So let us be clear. Let us be clear. There is a lot of power gathered here today on this beautiful spring day in Minnesota. A lot of power here today. And I have seen in my life over and over again that power comes from the people, not from the people at the top. I've seen that when we join together in solidarity and when we speak with a strong, clear, loud voice, we can get the change that we need. I want to say to the Republican legislators that are here today, thank you for being here and thank you for standing with all of us. Thank you for the letter that you sent to the Trump administration saying what you will not put up with, which is cutting Medicaid. Thank you for standing up for what is right. And we are so ready to work with you shoulder to shoulder for the good of all of us. And to everyone who is here today, I just want to thank you for showing up. I want to see in all of your faces that we are not defeated. We are not worn down, and we are not worn out, and we will not be bullied. We are ready for this fight. We are ready to fight for what is right in this country. We're not going to sit quietly by while some billionaire and his tech bros try to tear apart the country that we love. Constitution, it says we the people, not we the billionaires. And we understand how to stand up to this nonsense. We understand how to stand up to bullies. And when we do, we have the power. We have the power to not back down. We have the power to not be bullied. We have the power to come together in solidarity to fight for the country that we love and to fight for the people that we love in this country, no matter who they are. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for everything that you're doing for our community. And I am so proud to stand with you this beautiful morning.
So I'm going to make this really quick because there's a lot of amazing folks here to talk to you today. But there is an attempt to roll back everything that has allowed people with disabilities to be in community. That is just true. The Trump budget, as we heard from a previous speaker, the Trump budget, it deletes, line item, take away, the administration on community living. That is a step towards institutionalization, and we should say it out loud. We have to stop pretending like these are not targeted attacks to reinstitutionalize people with disabilities. It's not just rolling back the governor's councils. It's not just Medicaid cuts. It's not just elimination of the Department of Education to investigate and deal with discrimination based on disability. It's not just lawsuits about Section 504. It is an attack that is coordinated to ensure that people with disabilities go away. Are we going anywhere? No! We're staying in community, and we are going to fight for the supports we need to do that. And we're not going to get super hyper-focused on one thing and forget about the other stuff they're trying to do to us, are we? No. Are we going to only look at one thing? No. Are we going to pay attention to the systematic dismantling and stand up each and every time? This is an attack on who we are, what we believe, and what we deserve as humans. This is a human rights attack. And we need to respond accordingly. Your lives matter, your friends' lives matter, your family lives matter, and they make our community better together. All of us. There is no us and them. There is no we and them. It's us together. All of us can stand up to this attempt to erase us, to take us back. And we will not allow it. We will not allow it. Not together. Disability is the great equalizer. It doesn't care who you are, how much money you have, what your racial background is, your religious background, your sexual, it doesn't care. Disability affects everyone. And if you live long enough, you'll get one. So we must all stand together to protect our rights, our loved ones' rights, our neighbors' rights, our friends' rights, and our community's rights together. And we have to start saying the quiet part out loud. When people say to you, they're going to cut Medicaid, say, oh, I'm sorry, are they going to try to reinstitutionalize me? When people say to you, it looks like they're doing something with special education, I'm concerned. Yeah, I know, they're trying to take your kid out of the class. When people say, oh, well, they rolled back discipline rules in the Minnesota Senate, so that's I'm concerned. Yeah, they're trying to kick kids with disabilities out. When people say they're cutting the budgets for this, that, or that, yeah, they're trying to push people back into institutions. When they say they're cutting the voc rehab budget and laying off vocational rehabilitation counselors, yeah, they're trying to make sure people with disabilities can't work. When they say they're going to get rid of all of the self-advocate and advocate organizations on the federal level, say, yeah, they don't want us to stand up for ourselves. And then stand up! Thank you all so much for being here today. It's amazing.
I'm so grateful to see so many people in attendance who are committed to protecting disability programs and services. I am always encouraged to see advocates, elected officials, members of the public, and disability rights organizations coming together to fight back against policies and decisions that will harm people with disabilities. Together, we will make a difference. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Sumukha Terakanambi, and I'm here today to share my perspective and experiences as a self-advocate. I want to start by first talking about why we are here today. I know many of us probably want to spend our Saturday enjoying time with family and friends, or relaxing after a long week of work. I also know that many of us would rather focus on finding solutions to the existing problems in disability services, not defending the very existence of these services. I think all of us can agree that it is really tiring to constantly have this conversation about how important these programs are and how they promote the well-being, independence, and inclusion of people with disabilities. However, we as a community know that silence is not an option. Especially in difficult times, we must come together to make our voices heard. Right now, the disability community is under attack. On top of potential cuts to Medicaid, we are facing threats to rare disease research, special education, the DD Act, and much more. These threats signal to us that some of our leaders in Washington believe that we are expendable, that we do not matter. And as a result, there's a lot of frustration, anger, fear, and anxiety. Instead of letting these emotions stop us, we have decided to take a stand and come together and send a clear message to these federal lawmakers that people with disabilities do matter, and we deserve to live a fulfilling life with dignity. So today, I want to talk about why the DD Act is so important and the DD Council and how the impact that it has had on my life. I also want to reiterate the importance of safeguarding the Medicaid program. About 2 years ago, I had the privilege of participating in the Partners in Policymaking program. This amazing program is directly supported by the DD Council which of course faces cuts today. I remember the very first session where we talked about the history of disability rights, and I was shocked to hear about the dark history of institutionalization of people with disabilities. This was something I had never heard of previously. Over the next eight months, I would hear from subject matter experts on topics ranging from employment to how to build relationships with elected officials. By the time I graduated, I had developed the skills and knowledge necessary to be a more effective advocate. I had gained confidence in speaking about the issues that matter to me and sharing my story with people. The fact that I'm here today speaking in front of such a large crowd is really a testament to this program. The program also opened the doors for me to be more involved in the community. I am proud to serve as the Vice Chair of the Public Policy Committee within the DD Council. The Council supports community outreach, commissions reports, tracks legislative and state agency initiatives, and most importantly, provides people with disabilities and parents of children with disabilities the opportunity to have their voices heard in the decision-making process and to ensure that our lawmakers are held accountable to adequately serving people with disabilities. Cuts would make it hard for people with disabilities to know the history of the disability rights movement. It would take away opportunities for people with disabilities to be leaders in their community, would deprive people with disabilities the right to full participation, and would hamper groundbreaking research. In short, these cuts would take us backwards, and that is simply unacceptable. These cuts are on top of concerns at the federal level surrounding the Medicaid program. For months, in the last few months, I and many advocates have shared our stories to sound the alarm about the damage that these cuts would do to people with disabilities. In my life, the Medicaid program covers critical supports such as PCAs, transportation, assistive technology, durable medical equipment, and home modifications. I can't stress enough that people with disabilities cannot afford to lose access to home and community-based supports. It would jeopardize the health and freedom of people with disabilities. Now that I have talked about the threats, the real threats we are facing, I want to end on a more positive note. I want to acknowledge that these are not partisan issues. We have lawmakers from Minnesota on both sides of the aisle here in support of us today. I also want to mention that the pressure is working. Lawmakers are now starting to think twice about hurting people with disabilities and enacting policies. But we can't let up. We must keep fighting back. The work does not stop with today's rally, so keep contacting your members of Congress. Write letters to the editor. Share your story on social media. Attend town halls. And attend other events like this today. Do whatever it takes to protect these critical programs. Together, let's tell our federal lawmakers to keep their hands off of the DD Act and to keep their hands off of Medicaid. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We're loud when we need it, right? Thank you for the warm welcome. My name is Ashley Storm Oolman, and I have the privilege of serving my home state as Chief Equity Officer for the Wells-Flanagan administration.
All right.
My job got a lot bigger on January 20th, and it's never been more urgent than right now today. Quick visual description. I'm wearing my mom uniform today. My baby girl's with me. I'm wearing a white sweatshirt, blue jeans, sneakers, and rocking bomb braids in a high pony. I'm also joining you as somebody, as the person that mentioned, I'm joining you from the governor's office, one of the highest positions in our state, as a neurodivergent and really mouthy leader. I'm here with you today because for me, playing in our face with Medicaid, ripping apart programs that we've built with our own hands, and targeting people with disabilities is personal.
Yeah.
Before taking my advocacy for disability justice all the way to the state, I worked as a disruptor and visionary in the disability services space. I didn't even have language for DEI when I started my work, but I noticed that the haves and the have-nots were magnified with the people that I worked with. I also noticed the incredible brilliance and resiliency and visionary capabilities of the people that I was working alongside as well. I have spent decades marching alongside many of you, spreading one simple message. All bodies are good bodies, all minds are good minds. All bodies are good bodies, all minds are good minds. All bodies are good, all minds are good. Body shape, size, limitation, quirks, differences. These are not determinants of our value as human beings. Mind variation in how we think, communicate, or understand, or express our emotions. Those are not a determinant of our worth or our value. I'm also here to remind us, especially those of us here that do not have disabilities, that attitudinal barriers are a big part of why we're still here. Attitudinal barriers are often reported by people with disabilities as more limiting than not getting accommodations that they need or not having access to the programs that they need. And so that means that here today, we can make a big step forward in addressing not only what we think and believe, but what the people around us think and believe. Yeah, cowbell. I don't know where that's coming from. All right, y'all. All bodies are good bodies, all minds are good minds. And while that rally cry still rings true, the times we are in call for something more. And that is an unwavering assertion that people with disabilities are exceptional members of our community. People with disabilities are exceptional problem solvers. Turns out, when you're not let in and you have to find a way or fight for a way in, you learn how to solve problems in different ways than the average person has to. People with disabilities are contributors to our society, and whether or not we recognize it, people with disabilities have helped to shape our state. People with disabilities are some of the strongest community builders that I've ever seen. And part of why I'm so courageous and speak truth to power always is because a lot of my friends with disabilities do the same. People with disabilities have always paved a way to a more just society, especially those who didn't have enough of what they needed, and especially those who have more than one identity that's marginalized. This moment calls for coming together from multiple vantage points and centering people most impacted. Though the circumstances we find ourselves in are dire, they're not unfamiliar. This is our chance, y'all. 2025 is our for real reckoning, where we can look across differences and diasporas and protect resources that are vital to the prosperity of all of the citizens of our state. Uncertainty is difficult. Parents out there, I'm a mom now too. I honestly, it's parents and it's families and it's us standing together in moments like this. It's us advocating for families that are similar but also different from our own that make us stronger. Uncertainty is difficult. Let's be real, this sucks. There's no way around it. The fear that we're experiencing is real. I've heard so many times over the first 3 months of my role, I can't believe this is happening. What are we going to do? I can't believe this is happening. I never thought it would be this bad. I can't believe this is happening. I can't imagine how we get out of this. But the fact is, folks on the margins have been there fighting for our freedoms all along. Whether we know it or not, the people, including those with disabilities, have always had not only the vision, but the stamina to achieve the best of what we offer at the state and federal level. Moreover, generations of Minnesotans have benefited from the labor of the other. In this moment, we need all hands on deck and lived experience leading the way. If you're not familiar with the 10 principles of disability justice, I suggest that you check them out. In case anybody in your life is confused about what it is that we're fighting for, not just fighting against, but fighting towards, it's disability justice. It's leadership of those most impacted. It's cross-movement solidarity. It's collective liberation, because until we're all free, we're not free. So lastly, I'm going to end with something that one of our most notable Minnesota politicians said back in the 90s, the best decade of all time. And that is, when we all do better, we all do better. When all people are valued, feel welcomed and supported, and receive fair treatment, including equal access to opportunities and programs, everyone benefits. And there's a reason why the land of 10,000 lakes has continued to be the talk of the nation since our governor was tapped for VP nominee. And that's because he comes from a state filled with change makers like you. The people moving boldly towards one Minnesota is what makes us great and what makes us strong. Using what we have, what we've always had, to make our state better for everyone. Amplifying community priorities and advancing systems change is my most rewarding work I've ever done in my life. Being on the margins, being on the outside, and not having enough is why this is personal. Carrying these messages, and especially in this moment, is not a job for one person. So together, we will continue to rise up and ensure that Minnesota is the best state for all children, including those with disabilities, to grow up and thrive. Thank you.